Yeah, we go into that game 3 points behind them. Tottenham's form has been shaky.
Terrible.
You get me? Since she opened up her mouth, blood. Shit's gone left, blood. You understand? I think she needs to put something in her mouth. You get me? I'm not from me though. You understand? I'm married. But someone's gonna.
I managed to hear a little bit of what you guys were already talking about before I joined. I think you're right in it's also about, people speaking up against it. It's, there's misogyny, there's racism, bringing even Islamophobia, religion, everything, it's all kind of stemming from the same kind of mindset, if you will. And I think allies are just really important. I appreciate everyone speaking out. I have seen a lot of support on Twitter, and I really do appreciate it. All the women speaking out, and I do think it's just as important that men speak out, which they have been, and calling out their own. And there's something Igal said that I've been saying for a while. So there will be like big Twitter accounts that will banter me for my opinions, and that's absolutely fine. I can hack that. But then the violence I then get off the back of that tweet, in my mentions, because a big account has quoted it. And I just think if you have a big platform, followers or subscribers or something, you need to be taking a responsibility of the influence you have. There were some accounts that quoted me, and then then there was a following of abuse after, and they came into my messages and wrote tweets saying I don't condemn what my followers are now doing in our mentions. And I think that's what's important. Like, Troopz is just the example here, as KJ said, because this is what has just happened today. But to me, the thing that's bothered me the most, because there's a lot of Troopzes out there that make comments like that, but it's the irresponsibility of the platform. Troopz has got over 250,000 subscribers, and I feel like when people are on platforms like that with such an influence, you are also enabling these faceless accounts, these, I'm not even just going to say children, because a lot of them are also grown people, Troopz being an example of that. And, it's just enabling these anonymous people on social media doing what they do. And I'm going to still carry on doing what I'm doing. They're never going to shut up my voice. I know I'm trying to do this to break barriers. If I make it easier for the women of future generations to come into the industry to talk about football, I'll take the heat from them. I'll take the heat to make it easier for those future generations. I'll do that happily. But what I will also do is, always speak out about it. Troopz has reached out to me privately, and we had a chat, and he did say like he didn't mean it maliciously kind of thing. But again, I just said to him, it's about the irresponsibility of the platform you're on. And, it's nothing new to me. I think, you guys know it's not only Troopz that's been doing this since this video, but I don't know. It's something that's, when it's so wide in society, misogyny, racism, people bringing up people's religion. This is all prominent in all walks of society. It's never going to be eradicated in football until it's eradicated in society. And do I think it's ever going to be eradicated? No. But every person speaking out is a small step towards that. And I can only appreciate everyone that's doing it. And that's not just for me, that's for every woman, the women football content creators, the Anitas, the Kendalls, the Sophie Roses, and that's for all of them. So yeah, thank you guys for this.
Look, for me, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I definitely don't want to ever come across like a virtue signaler. I think I'll step up and speak up, and there's things that need to be said at the right times. And we did the same thing for Prime only 3 or 4 weeks ago when he was on a separate stream on another platform and somebody racially abused him. The person that racially abused him was a Football Terrace member, so a paying member of the Football Terrace, and somebody that put umpteen super chats a month into the channel, which feeds into our revenues as a platform and a growing platform. The first thing we did was suspend the individual's membership. The guy asked to come on and speak with Prime, so we did it. And we had that conversation. We denounced, we moved on, we blocked him from everything we could. And we did our best to try and stand up and make a stand. Interesting, the video we put out of him being denounced and him coming on and talking to Prime, YouTube had removed based on a complaint somebody put in that we were doxing him. We didn't share any private information about the individual other than the name that he'd been using on it here the whole time. And that just tells me that there's such a big fight in our hands that even when you get someone who openly on air admits that they are a racist, and that tries to half-heartedly apologize about what they've done, we as a channel got something removed because of that, and that person's account still exists. That person's Facebook, that person's Instagram still exists. But yet our video where we were calling that out was shut down, which I found absolutely staggering. But it is important for people to stand up and have their say, and allies, as you say, are important, because what we really want to get down to is, you know, having serious football conversation half the time and bantering each other the next. And it's very hard to do that, where every 5 minutes there's an abusive tweet, there's sexism, racism, as you say, Islamophobia, all these things. And it's very, very difficult. And my biggest bugbear, aside from those heinous things that happen, are the platforms that stay silent, the YouTubers that stay silent, the people that might message you privately and say, oh, that's a great thing you're doing. But don't have for me, it's having the guts to stand up and do it themselves, because it might impact their back pocket. And for me, that kind of silence is absolutely deafening. It really is.
Yeah, big up Mel, man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm not going to sit here and start name dropping, you know, but there are some big YouTubers that have come into my private messages like, oh, that wasn't cool. And I've seen their pages before, and they're no stranger to sticking up against social justice issues, you know, when it comes to sexism, when it comes to racism. So you've never had a problem, you know, speaking out against it before. But all of a sudden, it's someone who, I don't want to make assumptions, but, you know, common sense would tell you they might want a collaboration with this guy, or they might think, oh, this will blow over soon. I don't want to, you know, ruin my chances in the future. All of a sudden, you now don't want to speak about it publicly. And as you said, the silence really is deafening. It really is.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing is, it's like I see some people in the comments, not all, but some people in the comments saying, oh, the reason why it comes up is because you're talking about it. Stop giving it highlights, stop talking about it. But we need to, as I said before, it's a group. Change don't happen without group effort. Change don't happen without people coming together and making a change. If that was the case, if we just had to not talk about it and it would go away, the world would be fine. You know what I mean? But it's not, because the less the more time you spend not speaking about it, the more it gets perpetrated. And it's until we as a society come together and here to better each other, that is when these things will change. So no, those people in the comments, we're not going to stop talking about it, because it needs to be said.
Can I say
you know
one
what
thing
my problem was as well? I think Bits and Bobs might have wrote a tweet about this. You know, one time is a mistake, the second time is a choice. Anyone who did see my tweet, this isn't, you know, the first time I have been name dropped by Troopz. When he name dropped me before, he actually said, I want to go in a bit more, but, you know, she's a girl and I don't want to get cancelled. I don't want Troopz to get blacklisted. That's what he said on a previous time he name dropped me. So for him to now come out with what he said after, you knew you was out of line because you stopped yourself before from saying something like that. So again, to me, that's a choice. It has bothered me, you know, people in the comments accepting his apology on my behalf, people that aren't even women, let alone me, talking about, oh, we all make mistakes. But to me, that wasn't a mistake. It was a choice.
Mel, I was going to say something when it comes to responding to these kind of situations, or even in the first place, speaking about anything in regards to banter. People's choice of words and people's choice of vocabulary, they need to understand how powerful their words and their choice of words are. If you say to somebody if you choose a specific word, you could take two words that mean the same thing, but your choice of that word could have a more dangerous effect. Like you could say somebody's a follower, and then you can call somebody a slave. You can say somebody is this, and you can say somebody is that. But the way you choose to describe that person can be hurtful, and it can damage them. And you don't realize how much somebody can get abused for their opinion or what they say on social media, putting themselves out there in the public. There's so much backlash that certain people get for no reason at all. And it's not just footballers, it's not just fans, it's everybody. And you guys, people in general, if you can do one thing, choose your words wisely and do not say things that you know are inflammatory just for likes and shares and retweets.
But again, if we go to the people above us that are in charge of these social media companies, the YouTube bigwigs, the Twitter bigwigs, all these people that are in charge, if they took a proper stand and take some proper drastic action to change this thing won't be happening. Because if Troopz was mindful that his channel would get shut down by YouTube, he would have maybe thought twice about, you know, choosing using the type of speech that he was using. But unfortunately, at the minute, there isn't that fear of the people above us to shut channels down, and because of that breeds, you know, the comfortableness and I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but basically, like,
No, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, Johnny. Do you know what's interesting as well? I've seen a lot of comments about this, and I'd love again Mel's take on this. They're talking about, I've seen expressions. Say, I know we actually spoke about this earlier, so I want to bring it up. I've seen expressions make kind of sexual comments towards you before, and you didn't react in this way.
Yeah.
Do you feel it's different when someone you know and you have a personal relationship with banters you over someone you never met?
Yeah, I think a lot of things are also about context. Expressions has made those kind of comments, you know, to the likes of me. Even the other day, he's made them to the likes of Sophie Rose. I personally don't mind it as much because I've been good friends with Expressions for years. A lot of people don't know that. Even way before I started doing the YouTube, when he was in his early days, we've been very familiar. I understand when that's put to a wider audience, it can be, you know, people can speak out about it, and rightly so. But I think it's all about context, and this is exactly what I said to Troopz. My biggest problem, aside from what you actually said, is the fact I don't know you. So how am I meant to take that, you know, as banter? It's personal banter. However, you know, sometimes people amongst their friendship groups, I'm not saying this is right, but, you know, you can maybe mock each other for the way they look or something. If you're kind of on that level with someone, me and Expressions are on that level. When we have personal banter, we get personal with each other. And that was shown on, I can't speak for him and Sophie Rose. I don't know how their relationship is, but with me in particular, we're like that. So I differentiate that from the Troopz situation because I don't know Troopz, and it's all about delivery. And what I said about context, you know, I had Expressions on my stream. It was all good vibes kind of thing. He was, you know, doing things for content, etc. But the delivery from Troopz, it just, I've really got kind of a nasty undertone from it. And obviously me also not being familiar with him, that was my problem. And that is why I differentiate the two. I can completely understand why people, you know, brought up Expressions because it is a valid point. But again, to me, it's about context and etc.
And I agree completely. We get a lot of it here on the terrace. Like the way KJ will talk to Igal, the way I'll talk to Prime, the way Ram will talk to Stro, the way Anita will call out Indiana. We've all been part of a group chat and have known each other for over a year, and some of us even longer. And we're friends. Like these guys all play pro clubs until 5 o'clock in the morning. They know each other really, really well. So when they're digging each other out, it's friends digging each other out. And I get from the outside looking in, people are like, "Oh, Terry, I think the way you speak to Igal sometimes, it's like you're bullying him." And I'm like, "But me and Igal talk a lot privately. We're friends. We get on, and it is different." And I think again, the audience often sometimes needs to be presented with that so they understand contextually where things lie in relation to that. But listen, my view, for what it's worth, I think you're obviously brave to stand up and speak up about it. And as you've said, it's completely and utterly up to you whether you accept Troopz's apology on this. I think it's a good thing, and I think it's the right thing for him to have come out and done publicly and then reach out to you privately. And I think the most important thing, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, I want your confirmation, is, you know, you want to move on and get back to talking about football, really.
That's literally it. That's all I've ever wanted to do, and I'm always getting dragged into SHIT storms. But yeah, when I spoke to Troopz, I did say, you know, it's all good kind of thing. What else can I do? Do you know what I mean? So I just want to put that out there. I have spoke to him. It's all fine, but it is part of a wider conversation that I hope, you know, carries on being had. I'm going to still be speaking about it, and hopefully I can get back to just talking about Spurs and football.
Absolutely. Speaking of football, we're going to move on to a football topic now. Are you going to stay with us, Mel, or are you going to get off and watch Spurs?
How far in the game is it? I might have to jet off. What's the time?
You're missing out with Spurs, Mel.